Hi, hello, good morning, and welcome to this week's serving of Mickey Waffles, a Disney podcast where we cover everything from parks, movies, and merchandise. My name is Sinead, and this week it's just me, or at least just for now. So, we have a special episode for you guys this week. It is the very first episode of a brand new podcast called The Christmas Cracker. So, The Christmas Cracker is hosted by our lovely KP, that you guys all know very well, and then the frequently mentioned Sam from the.girl.in.the.castle. I got it right. First time and everything. So Kate and Sam will be starting a brand new Christmas podcast where they will be reviewing Christmas movies. So obviously they're both big Disney fans, so where else could they start other than the brand new Disney Plus original Noel? I say brand new. It's been out in the States for a while, but it's new to us. It just launched over this side of the world last week. So this podcast will be moving to its own feed, but we figured we would give you guys a sneak peek and let you guys listen to the very first episode here on the Mickey Waffles feed. So keep your eyes out. We'll be posting links on socials and all that good stuff. The guys do have an Instagram page, so that will be linked in the show notes. And keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram page, the Mickey Waffles one, over the weekend, as we will be announcing the winner of our The Child / Grogu. Hi, hello. The latest episode of Mandalorian was great. The winner of our giant Funko Pop over on our socials this weekend. So, hope you guys enjoy the episode and thanks so much for listening. We will be back to a regular podcast next week. Bye.
Season's greetings. Welcome to The Christmas Cracker, where both myself and Sam discuss the absolute best and worst Christmas movies the world has to offer. And who knows, maybe one day we will find the ultimate Christmas cracker. Hello, how are we, people? My name's Kate, and this is
Sam. Hello.
Yeah.
That bio will never not make me laugh.
What?
The bio.
Oh,
it's just so funny.
It truly was written from the heart, I have to say now. So yeah, guys, welcome to the very first episode of The Christmas Cracker, where we discuss Christmas movies. Sometimes they're shitty. Most of the times they're shitty.
I'm going to guess about 95% of the time.
But you never know. Sometimes they might actually be good. If any of you know me, I came from my other podcast, Mickey Waffles. And that's how we met Sam. And guys, I've never met Sam in person. Isn't that wild?
I do think that's mental.
And here we are starting this batshit crazy podcast.
That's the joy of technology.
So yeah, this is
crazy people together.
This is Christmas Cracker. We're going to talk about shitty movies, hopefully have a bit of fun. And although this is being released in December, do not think that this is only a Christmas podcast. Because you know what?
We're that crazy.
Shitty Christmas movies are for life, not just for Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. You just keep that in.
Excellent.
So, since my other podcast is a Disney podcast and we're both a bit Disney nuts, we thought the best place to start with for our very first episode would be Noel, the Disney Plus classic original movie, which annoyingly was only released in Europe this year. It was released in the US last year.
Confused me when I put it on and it was like 2019 and I was like, no, it's not.
This is brand new.
To
It literally only got released on Disney Plus on the 27th of December, which was 2 days ago from recording this.
Crazy.
So it's mad. So yeah, Noel stars Anna Kendrick and this other lad whose name I can't remember. What's his name? Bill Hader. And also Shirley MacLaine. Shirley MacLaine was way better than Bill Hader in this.
Yes.
So yeah.
So far, I agree.
Like the poster for the movie is Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader, but Shirley MacLaine has a much bigger role than him. So I don't understand.
I also think the poster is very bland.
Oh yes, let's discuss the poster. That's a good idea. Do you know what? The poster actually has the biggest spoiler of the entire movie, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it does actually. Now you put it together.
Now that you've seen it. So also, FYI guys, this podcast will not be spoiler free. We're going to ruin the entire movie for you. So if you haven't watched Noel yet and you want to, come back to us when you're done. If you
it would be a very short podcast if we didn't.
And if you haven't watched Noelle and you also don't give a shit, then keep on listening. So yeah, the picture art for the poster is literally Noelle, and then it's Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader both dressed up like Santa Claus, with spoils the actual entire movie once you've watched it.
Yeah. It looks very bland. It looks very boring. I wouldn't watch it based on the poster alone.
No, you're right. But the fact that it was a Disney Plus original Christmas classic, that made me want to watch it.
Yes. And you told me to watch it so that we could record this, so that's why I watched it.
You made me sound like the mean one.
I probably wouldn't have watched it if I didn't have this podcast.
Really? You weren't going to watch it anyway?
I probably would have, but not as quickly. I probably would have watched it like later on.
Okay.
Into the month or something.
So Bill Hader plays Nick Kringle, i.e. Santa Claus's son. And Anna Kendrick plays Noelle Kringle, i.e. Santa Claus's daughter. The movie opens in a very stereotypical Christmas movie way. There's snow, there's jingle bells, there's Santa.
I loved the opening. I thought the opening was the best part.
You thought the opening? Jesus.
Which doesn't say much for the rest of the film.
I thought I was going to be the very sarcastic one within this pairing, but obviously not.
It was really cute and nostalgic. And like, I honestly was not expecting the child to be Santa's daughter. I was like, oh, plot twist.
Oh, really? You didn't?
Yeah, I don't know how I wasn't expecting that.
Did you know the movie? Did you read about the movie before you started watching it? Oh,
no,
okay.
I went in totally blank.
I was like, it's pretty obvious.
Like, oh, cute. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the opening.
So basically, the opening is Santa coming back to the North Pole, we find out, to slide down the chimney to his own house, where his son and his daughter have slept up and waited for him, because that's like their little tradition. It's all very cute. Mm-hmm. One cute little thing to note is that there's hidden Mickeys on the floor tiles in the house.
I made a note of that.
And I was like,
somewhere else. Did you see the other place?
Oh, no. Go on.
In the fireplace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whatever's in the fireplace, it looked like some sort of twigs or logs or like a wreath sort of thing is shaped as a hidden Mickey as well.
Wow. Look at that.
And then never seen again, as far as I could find.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my
they
God.
Went big at the start and then never again.
I was like, is there going to be hidden Mickeys throughout this entire movie? But there wasn't. That was literally it.
No,
it's
I
almost
was so
like
excited to find them. And
it was almost like they started to do it, and they were like, we'll put one in like every fifth scene or something, and then they were like, shit. And like they forgot.
Because I thought that would be really fun. I was like, oh, this is going to be like a fun game.
But then it was also like, can they actually be counted as hidden Mickeys when they show them about 5 times?
The floor tiles one was so like obvious.
Like the floor tiles was like, here's 5 seconds of just floor tiles. Did you get it yet? Have you gotten it yet?
Yeah. Oh, I did think that was funny. That was for the people who didn't spot the fireplace, you see.
People like me.
Didn't want their hard work to go to waste.
Who knows? Maybe there are more hidden Mickeys in the movie, but they were just so subtle that we didn't notice them.
I'll give it another go.
So Santa comes home, obviously gives the kids their Christmas presents, and I have to say, at this point in the movie, I was like, fucking Nick Kringle has been really shortchanged, because he gives Noelle this massive box full of shit, right? She's got magazines, she's got ice skates, she's got like sweets, clothes, all of this sort of shit. Chris lifts up his box and all he has is a Santa hat. And I was like, what the fuck? And they were like, congratulations, it's time for you to take on Santa training. And I was like, fuck that. He's like 12.
That to me is the equivalent of someone proposing on Christmas. Like I was going to get this anyway, and you're just working your way out of a present.
Oh, wow.
I would be fuming if I was Nick, to be honest.
So, yeah, at that point I was like, here, what the fuck? I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. But then as they start to explain what's going on, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
So one of the things you've written next is, I can see where this movie is going, but by God, the gender norms or / gender split in this movie is so annoying. Even though I can see where it's going, I know at the end it's going to resolve itself, but I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Very predictable from the start.
So basically, Nick is told that it's his turn to start learning how to become Santa. He has to go through his Santa training. And poor Noelle, bless her heart, she's like, well, Dad, you're Santa. And Mom's Mrs. Claus. And Dad's going to be Santa. And the head, whatever her name is, the elf lady. Holly? Polly?
Polly arguably would have been better.
And Polly, yeah. Elf Polly has like her name. She's like, what am I, Dad? And he's like, your Christmas cheer, Noelle. Your job is to make sure that your brother is happy and has enough Christmas cheer to become Santa. So you just sit there and keep making your Christmas cards. And I'm like, whoa.
Very 50 housewife. Yeah.
And to be fair, like you can see it in the girl's eyes. She's like, oh, fine, I guess.
Even though it's glaringly obvious that she is better suited already at this young age.
Already, right? Because the kid, fucking Nick is like, great, a hat, cool. And she's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Yeah. Now, bless her. Then we have a nice transition to the point where Santa's dead, right? Santa dies. Her dad dies. And then... So we don't watch like them grow up. Just the next scene we have is them at the age they are now in the movie. And so basically, this is the first Christmas where Nick has to be Santa. And surprise, surprise, he's shit at it. He can't go down the fucking chimneys. The suit doesn't fit him. So there's this whole thing where like the suit fits you and you fit it kind of thing, which when it happens gave me big the Santa Claus vibes.
Yeah, I also said that, yeah.
There is a few things in this movie where I'm like, it's almost like a cross between the Santa Claus, Elf, and another movie that I couldn't think of. But it was definitely like a good cross between the Santa Claus and Elf. It was like a lot of, we'll get to it in a minute, but there was a lot of like, Elf in the real world type shit, which I was like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of like, we stole this from this movie and we stole this from this one. There was a lot that like, I even felt like there was Arthur Christmas vibes. I don't know if that was the third movie you were thinking of.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, I didn't even know that's, but yeah, you're bang on, Arthur Christmas. It's definitely a mix between those three movies, which like spoiler, I did enjoy the movie, but I'm like, was it really worth an hour and 45? Like, was it really worth an hour and 45 minutes of my life? Like, I don't know. No. So anyway, right, Chris can't be Santa. Noelle, obviously with the name like Noelle, she is Christmas cheer. And so it's like 5 days before Christmas or something. It's like the week before Christmas. And Noelle is like, look, your head's clearly muddled. You're not thinking straight. They go through the Christmas book thing, the like rules of Santa or whatever it's called. And she's like, just tap the chimney with a candy cane 3 times. It'll just happen. You'll just know.
Magic.
Obviously, it was a shocker. None of that's fucking working for Chris.
Nick.
Oh yeah.
Chris.
I guess I could call him Chris Kringle. In my head, that makes way more sense. So none of this is happening for Nick. And so Noelle is like, so in her head, Noelle has been told to make sure she does everything so that Nick can become Santa. So she's like, take the weekend off. Go. Just clear your head. Go away. And so he does that. And he goes to Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, and I've also written down here, right? So she's so she says Phoenix, Arizona. And I obviously like she can't, as in like she doesn't know where Arizona is, so she can't pronounce the state. But she can pronounce Phoenix with the silent PH.
Maybe they have the bird.
But I was like, what the fuck? You can say Phoenix out loud, but not Arizona? Ridiculous.
I also wrote down that he left like no note or anything, and if he truly was intending to only take a break and not ensue panic, there's better ways of going about it.
Also, I missed in that we met what was his name? Snowball.
Oh, Cone, who is the greatest character ever.
He's so cute. Like, why there's no Disney merch for him? He's so Snow Cone is this really tiny reindeer. It is Snowcone, isn't it?
Snow cone, yeah. Well, that's what I've written, so unless I'm wrong.
I missed it the first time, and then they said it again, and I forgot to write it down. He's this really tiny white reindeer. He's given the essence of a dog, basically, and he's just fantastic. And I'm very excited to name the next dog I have Snowcone.
That's a great idea. That's so cute. I love it.
Snowcone would also be a good name for a cat as well, if a cat was a cat's thing.
I love Snowcone.
Oh yeah, so Nick leaves. Adios, bye-bye. And then everyone starts blaming Noelle.
Yeah.
Because Noelle is like, I just want him to go for the weekend. And everyone's like, you told him to leave the North Pole, blah, blah, blah. Everyone in the North Pole is a bitch.
Yeah. But including Noelle. Can I point that out?
Oh yeah, she is a bitch. You're right. She's a very pampered princess.
Yeah, I wrote down my second note of this entire note thing, words, is I don't like Noelle. Why does she speak to Polly like that? I thought she was so rude to Polly.
But I was like, I suppose it's like one of those movies where they've just grown up within royalty, I suppose. So they don't know any other way. Like, she's always been the princess. But I suppose that is part of the movie because she does get a good reality check when she goes to Arizona.
Yeah, but poor Polly, I was human. I get it. But I didn't know whose side I was supposed to be on because I was like Noelle, because she's a bit bitchy here now and I don't like her.
To be fair, Polly gives as good as she gets as well.
Yeah.
So Polly's like, get out of bed, you fucking lazy bitch, and stop eating waffles in my bed. Get out. I have to clean that up.
No, Polly is great. I enjoyed Polly's character a lot. I just didn't appreciate how Noelle was speaking to her. And I also thought Noelle had a bit of an ego on her.
Noelle. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true too.
I wasn't sure I liked her until she got to Arizona, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think that is part of the movie. I think that is how it's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we both felt this way. So basically the elder Santas or the elder court or whatever they are, they meet and they're like, okay, well, Nick's gone, so we need another Santa. And it's apparently, as we're aware, written in the rules, that has to be the next male line of the Kringle family. And
Polly quickly points out it's not. Yes, you wrote that. This could have been a much shorter movie.
Polly is literally like, no, bitch, that's not what it says. And everyone's like, be quiet, Polly, you're just an elf. And I'm literally like, if I was a woman in that room, I would have been like, sorry, yeah, Polly, I think you'll also find that the rules do not state it has to be a male Kringle, for fuck's sake. So anyway, it ends up being this cousin who's this big nerd and basically just adds technology to everything. And that's honestly, I find that the most boring part of the movie. Yeah,
the note I written here is, I reckon Gabe's going to be evil. And then he wasn't, and it disappointed me.
No, he wasn't evil. He was just really bad at his job. He didn't understand.
Yeah.
It's like
they could have made that better if he was evil.
Yeah. He was brought up in a techie world. And that's just what he was as a Santa. It's like he did what he knew. Which just happened to be shit, but not necessarily.
And this is where the Arthur Claus vibes came in for me.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I was like, I've seen all of this movie before, just spread out in different movies.
Yeah. Just a little bit of this plot, a little bit of that plot.
Yeah, so it ends up being the cousin who's really, honestly, it's not important, to be honest. They could have had this entire movie without that bit happening. It just wasn't if it just been Nick, if you don't come back to the North Pole, there will be no Christmas. It would have been the exact same thing. Do you know what I mean? It's unnecessary.
Arguably better.
Truth. So
I didn't need the tech Christmas side of things.
I think they were trying to be funny by because they had loads of they said Amazon and they say iPad a lot. And they clearly got licensing from Apple because they use Macs in it.
I did write that down. I wrote down how much did iPad pay for this advertising.
Oh yes, there's this ongoing joke within the entire movie that everyone wants an iPad. So every single person wants an iPad, which is quite funny. Anyway, Noelle decides that she has to go find him because that's her job. Basically, I think that's about where we are.
Yeah.
So she gets on the sleigh. Poor little Snow Cone. She's like, Snow Cone, you're not ready. Get back to the barn. And
I love Snow Cone. Snow Cone is so ready for this job.
So sad. He proper whimpers like a puppy. I'm like, ugh. So Noelle and Polly ends up going as well.
Mm-hmm.
They fly to Arizona, and it's really weird. Like, this bit I don't really get. Like, it's not really explained how. So they land in like this outdoor shopping mall in Arizona, and they obviously have the reindeers and stuff, and they obviously have no idea about like the real world because they're from the North Pole. And this is where it gets very elfy.
Yeah.
So we've done Arthur Christmas. He's good. He reappears, but like that, okay, like Arthur Christmas is starting to
put that
through.
aside now. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw the Santa Claus at the beginning where like he's trying to become Santa and it's not working. Then we moved on to Arthur Christmas. Now we're into Elf, where Elf is a good majority of the movie in the middle. So they land and Noella's like, hi, I'm trying to find Santa. And she's this like big, happy, cheery, all of this sort of stuff. I think I wrote somewhere, did I not write it down? Oh no. I definitely wrote it down somewhere that, Anna Kendrick's vibe is like me when I was a cast member being watched by management in the Disney store. Throughout the entire movie, she's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. It's
forcibly cheery.
Because like in her mind, that's all she knows.
Yeah.
So anyway, they land in this mall thing. They meet the mall manager, and all of a sudden they're just like friends.
Yeah.
I don't really get this bit.
It's like the writers were like, okay, so they land here. Okay, I don't know how well we do.
We transition.
Let's just say that the manager's fine with all of this happening.
Yeah, so
that we can move on. That's
literally it. So the sleigh and reindeer land. They end up meeting the manager in the like office. And Noelle is like, yeah, okay. And the manager, the Petco guy comes in.
This vet, I was not the vet. He's not a vet.
So there's this guy who works in Petco, and he comes in and he's like, oh, the people are loving the rain. So this Petco guy is like a really like handsome, tall man person who the manager is in love with. And the Petco guy comes in and he's like, everybody's loving the reindeers. Everyone's asking me for reindeer food and all this sort of stuff. Like,
is that his voice?
No, you're definitely gonna get that promotion if these things keep going. And she's like, the reindeers can stay. And Noelle's like, oh, woo!
I thought this would have made more sense if her boss had come in, as opposed to some random shop worker.
Yeah, again.
Like if it was her boss that was super impressed with her new Christmas initiative idea, that she then was like, yeah, that was my idea. But it's just a vet guy that she likes. Not a vet, he's not a vet.
No, he works in Petco.
Shopkeeper.
He's not the vet. Jesus. So that's fine. Cool. They can stay. The reindeer can stay. That's great. Now Noelle has to go find her brother.
But without Polly's help.
But without Polly.
A convenient reason not to go.
Because she has to watch the reindeer, because the reindeer are on a very strict North Pole regiment where they're not supposed to eat snacks and all this sort of stuff. So
but does she stop it happening?
No. Polly goes and lives her life. Really, Polly just wanted to get her hair done, buy some new clothes, and eat like a queen. That's what Polly wanted to do.
And stay away from Noelle for an hour.
Yeah. So Noelle hops off into Arizona by herself, keeping in mind, Arizona is a really hot state. And Noelle is dressed for the North Pole. Bless her heart.
Refusing to remove any of it because it's an ensemble.
But I do have to say, though, as well, the costuming, but also the costuming in this movie is great for Noelle. Mm-hmm. I love all of her outfits. They're just fantastic.
They're very cute.
So she has to go and find Nick, and she ends up finding this private investigator. Obviously, she sees like a bunch of like fake Santas, and she's like, you're not my brother. And she ends up meeting this private investigator called Jake, who is just lovely.
Nice guy.
He's just so nice. So yes, he's a private investigator as well as a single father who had recently been divorced, and he helps track down Nick. Noel also interacts with Jake's enthusiastic son Alex. Alex is also a big sweetie pie. He comes along a bit later on, but basically Jake's recently divorced. He has a great relationship with his son, but he only sees him like 2 times a week or something. Which is
in very weird circumstance, like while he's working. And
he only sees him while he's working or something.
And this office is like also his house.
Yeah,
or like apartment, which was bizarre. I do think the set for that was really weird.
It's not very clear, but this is a very important part of the movie. So this is where, like, if you didn't already see it, it starts to become clear that. So basically, Noelle tries to pay him because he's like, it's $150 a day for me to find your brother, and she's like, okay. And so she gives him chocolate coins, which interestingly are real gold with chocolate in the inside. I was like, Jake, take it. Like, surely outside is enough in gold for you to pawn for $150 easily, right?
Zoom.
But anyway, Jake's like, get me real money. And then he starts saying about his brother and not his brother, his son. And they go outside and his phone's dead. And he's like, I need to ring my ex-wife to go collect my son. Can I borrow your phone? My phone's dead. And she's like, I don't have a phone. Because I'm from the North Pole. She never actually tells anyone she's from the North Pole, which I find interesting, is that she's so willing to be ignorant about the real world, but she won't tell you.
Yeah.
But she's not ignorant enough to not.
Opportunity for a joke where she just tries to find something she thinks is a phone and give it to him.
Yeah, but she's not ignorant enough to know that she shouldn't tell people she's from the North Pole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, her ideas on what to say are very mismatched.
Yeah. Oh, Disney. Anyway, and so then she's like, just get someone to borrow their phone. And he's like, are you kidding me? Like, people don't like each other here. And then there's like this like twinkle, twinkle, sparkle music. And she sees this guy's over yonder in a parking lot. And she's like, him. Ask him. He's nice. And he's like, how do you know that? And she's just like, I just know. Because one of the things that Santa can do is just know if someone is naughty or nice just by looking at them, i.e. in the Santa Claus.
Such a rip-off of other movies.
Like, literally,
you really break it down.
You can just pick everything out from this movie. So they go up to this guy, and lo and behold, he's like, of course you can use my phone. Go for it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's the first bit, and that's fine. Then I can't actually remember what happens then.
Well, that's when Jake decides that he will take on her case.
Right. Because
now he believes that she's worth it.
I don't know.
She's nice.
Yeah.
It's not very clear.
None of this is clear. And so as we're in the real world, we also get not flashbacks, but we also get like side swipes to what's happening back in the North Pole.
Yes.
And basically what the cousin is doing is automating everything. He's putting everything to code. He's made an algorithm to find out who's naughty and nice, because Nick hadn't finished the naughty and nice list before he went. So there were still gaps. So he basically figured out an algorithm for that. And then that's basically where we are. It's all kind of like
very strict rules on what makes you naughty or nice. His algorithm is tough.
There's a dude that didn't fix his bed.
And the guy who didn't brush his teeth.
No, it wasn't even brushing your teeth, just not flossing. So like, you could have brushed your teeth, but if you didn't floss.
I would 100% be on the naughty list. I would not make the cut.
I never made my bed. Ever. That was just something I did not do. I was one of those people that's like, I'm going to get back into it. What's the point?
True. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, his algorithm is whack. Then we go back to the real world where we've met Jake's son. Mm-hmm. He's lovely. He is an absolute dote, and he just wants the best for his dad.
very cute, wants to go to work with his dad for convenient reasonings of Jake being able to go to work that day.
Yeah, it's like Jake Green needs to go to work that day because he needs to talk to Noel about some things.
Jake really wants to see what his dad, or he really wants to see what his dad does, which is bad.
So I can't remember what way this turns out, but anyway, the Helen from the manager at the mall has also agreed to let Polly and Noel just sleep there overnight.
Yeah.
Because Noel's like, oh, because Nick
The money.
needs payment. Yes. She goes back to Helen and is like, I need $150 a day. And she's like, I can't give you that, but I can give you $150 worth of merchandise from the mall. And she's like, sure. And so she gives Nick all this stuff, but she's also allowed to sleep in the mall. You know what? This whole mall thing, like, I understand they needed the sleigh to go somewhere, but Jesus Christ.
Surely, like, a hotel, or like they could have scrounged up something.
Or like the Arizona. Isn't a lot of Arizona desert?
Probably.
Like they could have just like
my geography wouldn't be confident enough in that.
Couldn't they have just like, I don't know. Anyway, so that's grand. We meet his son. His son's really nice.
She also has tinsel where she's like, oh, I had this spare.
In
I'm like,
this,
for what?
No, but she's like, I had this spare in the sleigh up my sleeve. And I'm like, okay, so we still know that you can't tell him that you're from the North Pole. And yet you're still like, what is this world? What's money? Like, ridiculous.
Oh.
So that's my favorite part of the movie, where we go to this homeless shelter for people. Because Jake has looked everywhere and he can't find Nick. And he's like, look, we can check the shelters. Yeah. And so this is where Noel starts to understand what the real world is like and how the real world is different from the North Pole. So she meets this girl who's drawn a picture. And like, it's so bad to laugh, especially from my job. But she sees this little girl drawing a picture and she's like, oh my God, that's so pretty. And her mom is like, she can't hear you. And Noelle is like, oh my God. Like, she starts shouting and the mom is like, she's deaf. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Laugh at that. Like, surely she has an awareness of deaf people.
I was like, well, at least she just got over it quickly, which is like the best thing to do in that situation.
Yeah.
But here we have another hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge about the ending of the movie. So she sits down and she starts chatting with this girl, and her mum is interpreting for her. And she's like, what do you want for Christmas? And she's like, oh, my mum needs a job because she doesn't have a job, blah, blah, blah. And then Noelle just starts signing back to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, the mum's like, do you know sign language? And Noelle's like, no.
Which, so again, you're gonna sound like a crazy person here.
But also, has Noelle not figured it out yet?
Yeah, and like, you know not to say slay. Like, surely just be like, yes, I did a course. You know, don't be like, no.
Like, if it's just happened, because then she's like, no, not that I'm aware of, and then continues to have a conversation with the little girl in sign language, and I'm like, either stop it or say, oh yeah, I do kind of know sign.
Yeah,
ridiculous. But anyway. Santa is able to talk to all kids in all different languages. So,
which is completely ripped off from another Christmas movie, Miracle on 34th Street.
Right?
Just another reference to another movie there.
Like, I just feel like if Disney had advertised this movie as a piss take on all of their Christmas movies, like, way above. Way above, but they didn't. They were like, "Ooh, we've got a Christmas movie."
Yeah,
isn't this amazing? So we do that, and then we find Nick. We have a bit more bonding time with his son, Noel, and his son, which is all happy fine. Then,
it's back.
Are you back? Okay, good.
Oh, that was awkward. I was like, oh dear.
We lost Sam there for a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we're not doing mid edits in this podcast. We're just topping and tailing them. So just be prepared for like things in the middle. Just until we get the vibe, see if people actually like this.
And I'm with Vodafone's internet, and that over the weekend has been very dodgy. So
oh yeah, true. That's okay. So anyway, we find Nick. He's at a yoga studio.
obviously.
A yoga studio. Because where else would he be? And
Well, Noelle told him to breathe, which is how Jake works out that he'll be at a yoga studio.
right. So Noelle is like, you gotta come back. Nick's like, fuck off. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And so then Noelle basically they have a big to and fro about this whole thing, and it's not important. It's standard like, I don't want it, but you have to. I don't want it. It's your family
You
duty.
had it so easy as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, all that shit. Then she goes back to the mall.
You're forgetting a vital part here. Hang on. She has a big tantrum and blows out a candle.
Oh, sorry. I was like, shit, did I? Yeah, so she gets like really pissed off and then blows out this candle in like the yoga studio, and Nick loses his mind. He's like, you basically blew out God.
It's so funny that she can't just like knock something over in rage.
No, she got to be
she's
good.
So good. She's a pampered princess who can speak to Polly like that, but she can't knock over something.
She knows her
Pick
limits.
Pick a side.
Then they go back to the mall, and guess who's arrived? Snow Cone. And it's like, yes, this movie has immediately gotten 10 times better again.
Truth.
So Snow Cone arrives with this letter from Mrs. Claus, telling her about the situation back home and being like, the nerd is taking over Christmas.
And there's only 2,000 good kids.
Yeah, like 2,762 nice kids or something out of the however many billion there are in the world. And they're like, no, you're wrong. And so the mum in this movie is a bit of a fucking wackadoodle. Like,
she's very unimportant and boring.
Yeah, but she's like, Noelle, it's your job to go find your brother. And Noelle's like, fuck off, mum. Like, she's not helpful. She's like, Noelle, this is all your fault. You have to fix it. And then when she comes home, you're like, Noelle, what an amazing daughter of mine. I'm like, this mother is extremely narcissistic.
I didn't like the mother character at all. I thought she was useless and pointless. And like, honestly, she could have been killed off ages ago as well.
No, I didn't
need her. We had Polly.
No, did not enjoy it. 2,837 nice kids. That's how many nice kids there are.
You were very close. You were only like 100 off there.
Right, I have a good memory. What can I say?
You forgot about the candle. Vital part.
I didn't forget. I knowingly left out.
I thought it was the best bit.
So anyway, so Noelle reads the letter and she's like, fuck, Christmas is about to be ruined. I have to go find Nick. He has to come back. So with help from Snowcone, who knows his like scent, he finds him. And this is actually I think this is the cutest part of the movie, where Snowcone helps to find Nick. Because
Snowcone is so proud of himself.
So adamant. He knows exactly where he is. So he brings her to like this little bus stop bench. And she's like, was he behind the bench? And he's like, Snowcone just keeps like jumping up and down the bench. And then a bus arrives. And the bus is like, oh, yoga retreat. And he's like, humph, as in like, I told you so. And it's like the cutest thing.
Snowcone is the best part of this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Except any other. Yeah.
If Snowcone was not part of this movie, I think I would have been bored a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So we happily get on this bus. The bus driver does give Snowcone a weird look, yet happily lets him on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would not happen on a Dublin bus. Or any bus errand bus, for that fact.
Oh, yeah.
So basically they go to this yoga retreat, and long story short, she convinces Nick to come home. But we don't know that yet.
Yeah, I was like, not at the yoga retreat though.
No.
She just leaves the letter and is like, well, I did my best.
Yeah. So the next day, Nick meets up with Polly. So Nick meets up with Polly at the mall the next day, and Noelle has him continue to train by being a mall Santa. So the Santa that the mall has hired, again, I guess this is why the mall's important.
Oh, yeah.
The Santa that the mall has hired isn't there yet. And so she's like to Nick, look, dress up as Santa, talk to a few kids, you'll feel the spark, you'll get the languages, everything will be fine. And he's like, it's not. And she's like, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. So he dresses up as Santa. She dresses up as an elf, and this is also very funny. Where she's like, "This getup is ridiculous," and she's literally wearing nearly the exact same outfit she's been wearing the entire thing.
Pretty much the same, just with candy cane like tights.
Yeah, and I look, it's proper like slapstick Disney. Ha 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 ha. So he sits on the Santa chair, meets these kids. Kids speak in the different languages. He doesn't know what they're saying, and Noelle ends up interpreting for him. And I'm like, "Hello, aren't we? No, we're still not. Okay. Like I hate these movies where it's like the glaringly obvious, but for the sake of the movie, no one sees anything."
Yeah, like again, would have been a much shorter movie if we had just gotten onto this like day one.
If day one we'd been like, "Oh, it doesn't have to be a man. Hey, Noelle has enough Christmas spirit for the entire North Pole. Let's give Noelle a go." Like,
Oh my God, imagine if they had auditions at the North Pole. That would be so much better. Where's that movie? I have to find that one. It definitely exists.
And North Pole, North Pole's Got Santa, like Britain's Got Talent. Anyway, so he's talking to all these kids, and during this, your man Gabriel, who's the cousin, has been sending out these evaluation sheets to all the naughty kids. So basically, if you weren't one of the 2,837 nice kids, you've received this text message or email that has basically said, due to you not making your bed, you will not be receiving a gift this year from Santa. If you would like to reform this evaluation and apply next year to be a nice kid, please let us know.
Which is gas.
And these kids are like, "Santa, why did you send this?" And it's all a big confusion. And I've also written down here, the evaluation notice thing is if like the Disney company ran Christmas. That's exactly what they do for children. They'd be like, did you really work hard enough at school? Come back to us next year.
What happened to kids who didn't have phones? Do you think it went to their parents' phone?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Solution, but I was like, there's some issues with this one.
Yeah, but also like none of the parents knew yet either, which I thought was
in the slightest bit concerned that a random person was texting them.
Yeah, or internet
Don't talk
safety,
strangers
guys.
on the internet, kids. Like,
come on. And so then the mall Santa arrives, the actual mall Santa, and he gets in a fight with not Nick, but with Noelle. Because Noelle is like, he just needs a couple more minutes, blah, 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 blah. She ends up kicking his police officer, and she basically ends up arrested and put in psychic evaluation.
Miracle on 34th Street.
What a game.
Honestly. Oh my God, imagine if you took a shot every time you like saw another reference. It's like a great drinking game out of this.
You'd be dead by the end of this movie.
I definitely would be.
She gets arrested and is later hospitalized for a psychological evaluation. Then there's a visit from Polly, who reveals her identity as an elf to Jake.
By showing him
her ears.
Her ear.
And he's like...
And then he's fine with it.
Yeah, and then he's like, shit, she is a Kringle. Oh my God, she's from the North Pole. Yeah. And so basically the only way to help is Noelle has to get out of the hospital for like her prison or whatever, wherever she is. And so Jake, because he's a private investigator, has a wink nudge with the police. And so she's being evaluated by this therapist one. And again, this scene is like kind of funny, but also really not needed. Yeah. And there's too much filler in this for a Christmas movie. Like, if you're gonna make a shit Christmas movie, make it shit. But don't be throwing in all this like, oh, I think this is funny filler.
Yeah, this movie couldn't pick a side on where it was on the scale.
Which, So anyway, he has the wink nudge with the police. He gets her out. She hops in the sleigh that's outside the window because obviously they came to rescue her outside the window. And that's it. And then she rescues... And
there's like a nod to there being a bit of romance between the two of them then, but not a huge nod.
Not enough.
And it's not quite clear where they're going or what they're going to do with that.
Again, this movie doesn't really know what it wants to be. And so she gets back in the sleigh. They go to the North Pole. They realize what Gabriel's doing. They go and meet the elder people. And Nick is like...
Elder elves.
The elder elves, yeah, the elder people. And Nick is like, it should be Noel. And the elders are like, and they're like, actually... So all of a sudden, without even reading anything, the main elder elf is like, no, you're right, yeah, it doesn't have to be a boy. Like, the rules don't have to be...
trying to say day one.
Please, like, without any hesitation, he's like, oh yeah, no, it's just a tradition that we followed. Like, no, yeah, it's definitely not written in the rules. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why would you have immediately gone to the cousin if Noel was right there? If you 100% knew that it was not the next May? He's the same elf that said it in the beginning.
Yeah, he's good because he's like, oh yeah, no, I guess you're right.
It's just
very blasé about it.
Yeah, and I'm like, literally, this whole movie did not have to exist.
No.
It's just...
No, this could have been easily cleared up day one.
It's ridiculous. So Nick nominates Noel as the next Santa, which stirs up controversy throughout the town, but unanimously gains agreement from the elders as she naturally has the skills and there is no rule against a female Santa. Wow.
Luckily.
Fucking surprise. So anyway, she puts on this massive fucking suit, which obviously doesn't fit her because the suit don't fit you till you fit it. And basically she just has to go. This bitch has had no training and she has to deliver presents to every single kid.
Yeah. And also, like, my point here was, surely there aren't enough presents, because if there was only 2,000 nice kids, surely they hadn't made 1 billion.
That's my question. But then also, right, so this all happens like in the space of a week before Christmas. Yeah. But in the Santa Claus, we see that they start Christmas like on Stevens's Day. That's when they start preparing for Christmas again. And so I'm like, surely there's enough toys made anyway?
Yeah, I was like, maybe they had enough toys and then there was just going to be a really big backlog. Do you think if Gabe had ended up staying as Santa, they would have had to lay off all the elves? Because they basically had enough presents for a good 10 years.
Oh yeah, and they also Gabe wanted to deliver the presents via Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Just cut out the middleman. Just get those drones in.
Because your man Jeff needs way more money, to be fair.
Yeah, and I was like, right, okay. So anyway, she has a couple of mishaps. She ends up waking up some kids. There's a very funny scene where she comes down the chimney and there's this family just eating Chinese food and they're like, we're Jewish.
She just gets back in and goes away.
And there's no questions from any of them. No, which I think is quite funny. And anyway, and then surprise, surprise, where do we go? The homeless shelter. And because she's this big klutz of a Santa who, to be fair, has been severely undertrained.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
She ends up waking them all up. And she, of course, we're back to the deaf girl and her mother. And but she's like, okay, but you all have to go to sleep. But they call her Santa. And that's when because the deaf girl is like, okay, good night, Santa. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Santa. And she's like, Santa? You think I'm Santa?
Yeah.
And that's when we know that she is Santa, because then the suit does the Santa Claus thing and it goes and fits into it was, and now it fits into Anna Kendrick's very perfect female silhouette. It goes and and then basically she's Santa. And that's
I will say I
kind of it.
Thought something more magical was happening. Like I'd kind of forgotten about the suit thing. And so when I saw the sparkles, I thought the whole shelter was gonna get like a Christmas like makeover. Like she had done it for the kids. So I was like a little bit like, oh, okay, that's so cute, but I thought it was more.
Also, so this deaf girl wanted a job for her mum and an iPad, because everyone in this movie wants an iPad.
Yes.
Noelle left her a job listing, not a job offer, a job listing for a teacher in the deaf school. Yeah. A job listing. As if the mother wasn't looking for fucking job listings already.
And would probably have found that on her own esteem.
Right? Like a hearing woman who knows sign language Yes, going to teach in a deaf school would probably be the best place for you.
Yeah. Yeah, she probably was keeping an eye out at that.
Just ridiculous. Okay, so our last line is Noel celebrated at the North Pole as Gabriel happy returns to tech support while Nick opens up a yoga studio and Polly becomes an elf elder, or like the elder elf. There's like like a high name for her. Noelle admits that she is proud to continue her father's legacy for being the 24th generational Santa and that Christmas will go on. Yay!
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the movie.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, to be fair, I was watching it during a time where basically I was in work, but I had no bookings in, so I had free time. So I was able to watch it. And yeah, like I just wonder, like, if I hadn't watched it to talk about it now, would I have enjoyed it as much?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best Christmas movie I've ever watched.
No, it's definitely not the best one out there. Like,
No.
I wouldn't. I thought they couldn't really decide on a story. There was too many like subplots that weren't developed enough. As it, like, even the subplot that we didn't even mention because it's been so unimportant is the father and the little boy's Christmas wish is for his divorced parents to have a Chinese together on Christmas Day. But he's like, I can't. My ex-wife is so like mad at me. And Noel's like, oh, but it'll be fine because it's Christmas. And it's just so unimportant and terrible.
Then it is fine. Like, Jake turns up at his ex-wife's house and his ex-wife's like, hi, Jake. And you're like, oh, so you aren't mad at each other. Like, it was a mutual divorce. Like, I'm confused.
Yeah, that was really, and also like the kid's hobby is like cooking and the dad never knew because the kid just always let his dad cook crap meals to try and be nice. It was a very strange like subplot.
Yeah, there was just a lot going on. I especially think if they were trying to cater towards a Disney Plus audience, that they kind of missed the mark. Because there'd be a lot of children watching Disney Plus. Even these kind of movies. Imagine like the Santa Claus. Like the Santa Claus is aimed at children, but it's also like your parents could watch it. It's a good family movie.
Yes.
I think that's what an Elf. Like I think that's what they were going for, but was very confused in how they were going to do it. Yeah,
like there was a lot I would have taken out or developed more.
See, the thing is, like, it felt like quite a short movie anyway. It's an hour and 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, like, if they cut any more out of it, it was very much becoming like a feature and not a film.
Yeah. But then, like, develop the tech storyline. Because I also felt like this film couldn't decide where it stood on the tech. Because it was very like, oh, all you need for Christmas is love and family and friends, but also an iPad.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, you like the technology?
So anti your man, I can't remember, Gabe. They were so anti him and his technology, but we're also happy to like throw out iPads left, right, and center as if they were nothing.
Yeah,
I was a bit like, I don't know where you land on tech.
No, it didn't make much sense to me at all.
No.
So let's just do a quick little roundup of what the internet thought. So on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score was 57%, and the critic score was 54%. And then on IMDb, it has a pretty high rating of 6.3 out of 10.
I thought that was high.
Which is pretty high.
I'm
not going to lie.
Yeah.
Let's see. Goofs. Oh, that's an awful goof. The gavel changes pieces broken after banging so hard some scenes. That's a shit goof, that is. The title of the movie doesn't appear at all till end credits roll. These are shit facts. Just sometimes IMDb have like really funny ones. According to Gwen Inhat, who is a top critic, all of this doesn't add up to the warm alchemy of a Christmas classic or a holiday movie you'd go out of your way to watch more than once, even if it is streaming. Oh, Roger Moore says, Kendra twinkles, Noel doesn't.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. What else is there? Mark Lawrence's story about Santa's daughter, despite its solid cast, aims squarely at not too picky kids and mostly ignores parents' desire to be entertained as well. Oh, that's a good one. I quite agree with that one. You'll have forgotten every last thing about Noel by next Christmas, but that's almost a plus side to its flimsy charm. Those baubles won't put themselves up.
These are harsh.
These are funny.
Accurate, but harsh.
So these were all done last year when it was released on Disney Plus US.
Yeah.
Released in the middle of the busiest movie season of the year, Noel is the sort of film destined to be discarded, a cheap holiday. I don't know what the movie says, with no staying power. Noel wears its hearts on its sleeve, but for Christmas movies, that's rarely a bad thing. Thanks to committed performances from the cast, it overcomes a fairly basic plot. I do have to say, the cast were good. The cast were great.
Yeah, the brother surprised me a lot because I didn't know what I'd make of him and his character.
Yeah,
but
because
I still enjoyed it. I just felt like he didn't have enough to do.
Doesn't he usually play really stupid characters?
Yeah, because when I saw him on the poster, I was like, oh, I don't think I like him, but I don't know why.
Yeah, like he was in Trainwreck with Year One. What's her name? Amy Schumer? Yeah, Amy Schumer. And Amy Schumer is like a very stupid comedy actress. Not that she's stupid, her comedy's stupid. But that's the kind of comedy she does. Yeah. So he is in a lot of those kind of movies. So that is, and he's in he's been on Saturday Night Live a lot. He's done like all that sort of stuff. So I was surprised to see that he did have a very serious character.
Yeah, and I thought he did a decent job of it because I wasn't sure if it was just going to be that like he ran away because he didn't want to, or he was like a bit of a bad Santa character, that he was just like, but he wasn't overly crap at it. He just didn't want the job, you know?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't destined for him. It wasn't like he was incapable of doing it because he was like a drunk or a party animal or like I mean, they wouldn't have put a drunk in a Disney movie, but you know.
Here's just I think we're going to wrap it up, but I just found one more audience review. Have you ever watched a movie that was so poorly made it was insulting to the cause it was made to support? Well, if for some reason you want to watch one, I would recommend Noel. Noel, starring Anna Kendrick as Noel, is one of the latest Disney Christmas movies that is exclusively available on Disney Plus. It is the story of Santa's daughter, blah, blah, blah. The idea of Noel is fantastic. The first female Santa, challenging gender roles and changing the game. But the execution of that idea leaves so much to be desired. In the first 20 minutes, I could already tell you the entire plot of the movie. And by the end, I could affirm that every guess was correct. I was super excited for a female Santa, but when she posed like a stuck-up idiot princess that quite frankly is one of the rich popular girls that bullied you in high school for over half the movie, I don't think anyone was impressed. She does change into a good person, but only because she realizes the good in Christmas by using her magic powers to bond with children over what they want for Christmas. If I were to rate Noel, I would rate it 0.5 out of 5 stars. It was utterly disappointing and came across as with a plot of about 50 other children's movies. If Disney wants to be progressive and seem as though they actually care about equal rights, they need to spend some time and come up with something more original and something that will actually support women everywhere instead of just insulting over half the population. Wow, Megan. That
Megan,
was truth.
I did think, all right, that I wasn't rooting for Noel.
No.
And I think even though like I know that it was probably intentional to make her a bit like prissy princess stuck up, I think it was the wrong route to go down because I wasn't rooting for her.
If anyone I was rooting for in this movie, it was Jake's son.
Yeah. I mean, I was rooting for Snowcone. And
Snowcone. Oh yeah, the end of the movie, Snowcone
should have been about Snowcone trying to be part of it.
Oh my god, yeah, that would have been a way better movie. So in the end,
so much better.
Snowcone becomes part of the reindeer, and he does Christmas.
Essentially Rudolph.
Yeah, he's
center.
So instead of saying on Dasher, it's
on Snowcone.
The reindeer to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. So, I wrote a note at the start, which was "Take the reindeer, you evil woman." I was so on Snowcone's side from the start. I was just Like Snow Cone made the movie. Other than that, I wasn't overly impressed.
Yeah, I think I agree. Would you recommend it?
I'd recommend it if you were terrifically bored and there was nothing better on.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it really,
like
yeah.
It wouldn't be high on, like, if someone came to me for a Christmas movie recommendation, it wouldn't be high on my list.
No, I think the biggest problem is that you know exactly what's going to happen within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
no, most Christmas movies are predictable, though.
Yes.
So I don't feel like we could really dock it for that.
I do, because I expect more from Disney.
Yeah,
Like-
okay, true. Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, we're going to do a lot of... You know exactly what's going to happen by the title without you even started watching it. But from a Disney movie, I expected more.
That is true. Do you know what I expected? A musical? I don't know why.
At one point, I did think it was going to be a musical. I was like, oh shit, is this a musical? I was like, I'm really not in the mood for a musical.
And then when she opened the doors, I went,
Yeah.
oh!
Do you know what that was? That was her part in Into the Woods. That's what that felt like.
Do you know what was gas? I was watching this with my mum and she went, oh, Belle, you are not. And I went, she's Cinderella.
Cinderella.
And she was like, okay. But I was not here for it.
Oh dear.
No, I was expecting a musical, but I think that would have been too much on top of everything else that was happening.
Yes. I agree.
How many Christmas crackers would you give it out of 5?
Oh, 2 cracks.
I would only give it 2 cracks as well. I didn't think it was that good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Watch it.
Sorry?
Would you rewatch it?
Maybe for Snow Cone. And like Anna Kendrick, to be fair, is very funny in it. Like her character is like, she plays her character well. So maybe, but like maybe not. Like I've already watched it this Christmas, so I probably wouldn't watch it again. But there are some Christmas movies that I might like watch now and then watch again like at the week of Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
This one it is not.
Yeah, I think it would be a case of like, it would have to be on the telly, which it wouldn't be because it's for the streaming service, but it would be like on the telly.
Yeah.
And like I was too lazy to switch over and it was like a Sunday at like 2:00.
Exactly.
Due to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bang on. This will never be the big movie on RTE.
No. That's a great way of putting it.
That's what we'll do, right? We'll rate it out of crap.
And then,
Good enough to be the big movie on RTE. That'll be our rating system.
That's our system. Great.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this first episode of the Christmas Cracker. I hope you guys liked it.
I had fun.
We don't really know what we're doing because when I usually do Mickey Waffles, it's Sinead that does everything.
That me.
I just arrive. But in this case, we both just arrived.
With no tech knowledge. You have some tech knowledge.
I do, but it did break.
And all of the podcast knowledge. And I just like Christmas.
Oh, also, we're currently recording on Zoom and some headphones broke. So apologies if it doesn't sound ultimately fantastic. But you know what? Deal with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll get better equipment at some point.
That's pretty much it. We'll see you next time, I guess. Merry Christmas.
I love it.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.